Dr. Shabir, we are looking at inspirational verses of the Quran, and we are looking at verse 110 from chapter 17, Dr. Shabir, and it goes like this. Say, O Prophet, call upon Allah or call upon the most compassionate. Whichever you call, He has the most beautiful names. So, and then it continues, do not recite your prayers too loudly or silently, but seek a way between. So it's nice that the verse says, call upon Allah or call upon Ar-Rahman, which is, a very beautiful way of referring to God.
Yeah, so maybe I should start by explaining the word Ar-Rahman because Allah is so very common now that even our non-Muslim friends know that Muslims refer to God as Allah, even though that too can be misunderstood because sometimes people think when you say Allah, it looks like you have a foreign deity, like, we have God and you have Allah. But for Muslims, Allah is God. Like when we say God in English with a capital G, for Muslims, that is Allah in the Arabic language. So let me not dwell on that too much. But the word Ar-Rahman is an intensive word in Arabic, meaning referring to one having mercy. So Ar-Rahman is one who is intensely merciful.
The most merciful?
Something like this. Sometimes we say the most merciful, most compassionate, and so on. So it's not easy to translate. But if we think of one being merciful, then Ar-Rahman is one being like supremely merciful. So that's God. So here we have two names for God. His name is Allah. His name is Ar-Rahman. And the verse is saying, قُلِ ادْعُوا اللَّهَ أَوْ ادْعُوا الرَّحْمَنَ. Say, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is being directed. Because remember, in Muslim theology, it is God speaking to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, through the Quran. So this is a direct command to him. Qul, the Quran is telling him, you say. It's not like the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, telling us. It's some other voice telling him. And for Muslims, this is the voice of God. And it's so clear from the Quran that this is what is intended, that God is speaking to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and telling him, tell others, Qul, say, id'u Allah aw id'u Ar-Rahman. Either you call upon Allah or you call upon Ar-Rahman. Ayyamma tad'u falahu al-asma'ul husna. Regardless of whichever of these you call upon, to God belongs the most beautiful names. And then the rest that you mentioned about the prayer, وَلَا تَجْهَرْ بِصَلَاتِكَ وَلَا تُخَافِتْ بِهَا وَابْتَغِ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ سَبِيلًا. Do not be too loud-voiced in your prayer or too soft-voiced, but seek a way that is balanced between the two. So that requires a separate comment, but I want to dwell on the idea of God having multiple names in the Quran, and you can call him by any of these names. Many of the names are mentioned together at the end of the 59th chapter of the Quran, called Surah al-Hashr, the chapter of the gathering. And many of the names are mentioned there together, and many Muslims have memorized those verses. They're often recited in public prayers. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم والملك القدوس السلام والمؤمن المهيمن, and so on. So these are many names of God, depicting various attributes of God, that he is forgiving, he is merciful, he is the creator, and so on. And 99 such names have been compiled by Muslim scholars, mostly from the Quran, but also from hadith, reported sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And some Muslims dutifully will recite all of these names. And it's hard to remember all of the names, but songs have been composed, including all of the names, so that one can easily follow the tune and remember the names. So Muslims are then free to pray to God using any one of these names. We can say, Ya Allah, O God, or Ya Rahman, O most merciful one, Ya Rahim, or O most merciful one, another word in Arabic meaning most merciful. Or we can say, Ya Khaliq, O Creator. Or sometimes we appeal to the attributes of God depending on our needs at the moment. So, for example, if one feels the need to pray for sustenance, one would pray, Ya Razzaq, O you who provide, so please provide for me. Or one, realizes the gravity of one's sins and one is turning to God for forgiveness. So what are we going to say at that time? We're going to call out to God. We can call him by any of the names, yes, but most appropriate at this time would be to say Ya Ghafoor, oh the forgiving one, Ya Ghafar, Ya Tawwab, and so on. That names that depicts the fact that God is forgiving, He is merciful, and of course that He's kind.
So any of these words we could use in our prayer to refer to God?
Yes, absolutely. And we also have the names of God occurring in the names of Muslims, especially in boys' names. So the term for servant is abd in Arabic, and that's why we have the name Abdullah, which means servant of God. So it's not meant to be taken separately. Like, sometimes when we see the name written in English, it looks like two words, Abdul and then something else. And then one might easily refer to the person as Abdul, just calling him by his first name. But Abdul just simply means servant of.
Yes.
So now we want to know of whom. So it's either servant of Allah, Abdullah, that's the complete form, or a servant of the Rahman, which would be Abdul Rahman, or to say it and elide the sound, it'll be Abdul Rahman, with the R being doubled and the L sort of elided into the R, so it'll be Abdul Rahman instead of Abdul Rahman. But if you wrote it separately, it'd be Abdul space Rahman. So if you just said Abdul, it just means servant of.
So Dr. Shabir, I was reading some commentaries about why the word Rahman is in there, right? Because it's Allah and Rahman there's no other name. So some people said it's because, at the time, the Prophet referred to Allah as Ar-Rahman, and then people said, oh, is this another God out there, that you're referring to? You said you only have one God, but now you're referring to somebody else. So it's interesting that the Prophet was referring to Ar-Rahman at that very early stage, probably in the Mecca stage, and then people were noticing, and, so the Prophet had a very intense connection to God in that sense, that he was thinking of God as the merciful.
Yes. And of course, at that time, there were many people who just simply wanted to mock the new faith. People sometimes object to something that they don't understand. They don't try to understand it first. They just scoff at something. So they looked at any little reason to object to the faith, to poke fun at it. And to launch unreasonable arguments, because sometimes they didn't have anything reasonable to say. So, they just say, oh, so now you're calling Allah Rahman. So, you have two gods, like which one is this?
But it probably suggests that the Prophet was calling God Ar-Rahman intensely, right? Like he kept using that word.
Yes. And it is clear from the context wherever the word Ar-Rahman is mentioned, that we're speaking about the same God. If you think about the opening formula of the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the Rahman, the Rahim, the most merciful, the beneficent and kind one. So the message could not have been lost on them.
You're right.
But they're just trying to poke fun. And of course, some things don't require a reply because it is so obvious. But some things, even though obviously false, can sometimes mislead some other people. So while their accusation or their question or their derision is baseless, nonetheless, you want to clarify it, nip it in the bud, and make sure it doesn't lead to any sort of the misleading of other people later on. So the Quran steps in to say, God steps in to say in the words of the Quran, here is what you should say to them. Whether you call on Allah, you call on Ar-Rahman, you're calling on the same God, because this is the one God that has many beautiful names. Elsewhere, the Quran says, Lahul Asma'ul Husna, to him belongs the most beautiful names.
Dr. Shabir, is there a connection between this verse and comparative religion?
Well, yes, for Muslims at least, because we live in a world in which many languages are spoken, and people call God by many different words. We've already seen that whereas in Arabic, Muslims are accustomed to saying Allah for God, in English, people say God, simply. And in other languages, there are other words. So what do we do about this? Do we think that people are worshiping other gods, or do we try to have a holistic way of looking at the whole world and saying, okay, so people in many different cultures, speaking many different languages, they have a different experience and understanding of God, and through their languages, they're calling God by different names. So when other people speak of God within their religious contexts, using different words from different languages, we say that they are all referring to the same one God using different words. And even the concepts of God may be slightly different from one religious culture to another. That is the way that people perceive God. That's how they receive the message through their traditions. We view all of these systems with respect. We try to engage in dialogue and interchange of ideas, but at the end of the day, we have to recognize that people are different. There are different cultures, different religions, different languages, and we have to live and tolerate and be respectful of other people and their cultures.
Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome. The most effective and far-reaching dawah we can do these days is on social media. That's why we're developing the Muslim Media Hub. We're harnessing the power of media to spread the message of Islam. Please support this project at QuranSpeaks.com and share in the reward from God.